Welcome back to the Milwaukee Show, and today we're talking about the Conn Smythe race of the NHL playoffs, as we are currently still in the second round of the amazing, most impressive, the best playoffs of any sports. There is a debate online a lot of who should be the Conn Smythe winner, and it goes every year, and last year was definitely an interesting one where it was definitely some people going back and forth, and it's always a fun topic of who the best player is, especially even for the regular season, which I'll make another video about that, of who the MVP should be as well. But for this playoffs, I think it's interesting, and what I'm going to do is, I know you can already read the board, but I'm going to go through each team and give you who my nomination would be for them to win the Stanley Cup for each team's nominee. So starting with the Florida Panthers, I would have to pick Alexander Sasha Barkov, whatever you want to call him. Barkov, I think, has easily been the best overall player for the Florida Panthers. And the Florida Panthers have a lot of good things going for them. But Barkov, to me, out of this whole, and the reason why I put him at top is because I think out of this whole list, maybe him and Swayman probably are easily the top picks for their team, and I think easily if they won the Stanley Cup, it would have to be them. For Barkov, he's currently leads his team. Well, he's tied for lead of the team in points with Matthew Tkachuk with 13 points. He's also tied for fourth with I think 3 or 4 players with 13 points currently in the NHL. So he's up there in the top guys of getting points on the board, right? And I feel like he's been snubbed a couple of times, especially with Jeremy Swayman. But my biggest thing is the quality of goals he's gotten, and here's just some extra stats for him. Is he's a +5, which leads the team in that. He has 3 game-winning goals, which I'm pretty sure leads the NHL at this point, and he has 2 shorthanded points, which is tied for top in the NHL. He is everywhere on the ice. He leads when it comes to he's one of the top forwards when it comes to plus and minus, so he's always getting points on the board, not letting a lot get against him, right? He's got 3 game-winning goals, so he's coming in clutch, getting those big goals when you need them, which is a huge thing when it comes to the playoffs. Shorthanded points, he scores even when they're down. It's all over the board for Sasha Barkov, right? He's good in his own zone, in my opinion. If Patrice Bergeron or Mark Stone doesn't get the Selke named after them, Barkov definitely should be the next guy up there. When it comes to two-way to forwards, he is one of those guys when I see the NHL awards, and one of the more underrated players that I feel like just casual fans or just fans don't get in general, of appreciation of the true sport of hockey and what it is and what a good hockey player is. Because when I'm looking at the sport, I see it from much more of a true player level. What is this guy doing with and without the puck? And Barkov is just a wizard when it comes to everything, right? He can score points, he can get goals on the board, he makes amazing passes, he's unselfish, he's the captain of his team, he's leading his team by example, right? He comes in clutch, he plays both ends of the ice so well, he doesn't stray away from any part of the game. When it comes to an overall best player, Barkov is that guy, right? And I don't think anyone else can really challenge him for that. Oh, the runner-up for the Panthers also would be Bobrovsky. I think the main thing that's holding people back from choosing him right now would be his numbers, because on his numbers, right, I think he's actually below a 900 save percentage right now. And I just don't really blame him for that. The games he's been playing have been each individual game can be taken just one by one, and Bobrovsky's been elite and has been huge for him. It's just the Panthers are a very scattered team sometimes when it comes to their own defensive plays, and to me, his numbers aren't his fault. He's been playing huge, and without him, I don't know where this Florida team is at right now. But for Barkov, I think is the overall leader in everything. So Barkov, easily the nomination for the Panthers. For the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm going with Sebastian Aho. Seabass, and he currently leads the Hurricanes in points right now, but the one thing about the Hurricanes at this point, right, is that they're behind from the New York Rangers. They need to tie up the series, and they need to tie it in their next game and then win the series and go on. They still need 2 rounds to win, and right now it's still unlikely that they win the series they're in right now. But if the Carolina Hurricanes are going to come back and win the playoffs, they're going to need some big performances from their top guys, right? And to me, like, sure, Jake Gensel, Frederick Anderson, some good names out there. Brady Shea's been huge in the playoffs right now. But if it comes to a player needing to rise to the occasion and raise his team to the Stanley Cup, it is Sebastian Aho, right? He is the guy that's going to need to rise to the occasion and get the job done. And Jake Gensel is right there as well, and it could go either or for them. But for Sebastian Aho to, like, cement his legacy as that true Hurricanes #1 guy, it's going to be him, right? He leads the team right now. I think, like, second in time on ice. Like, he does so much for them. And he leads the team in points. Like, so for me, Sebastian Aho, it's not really truly about what he's done at this current point, but if they win the playoffs, he is going to be huge for them, and that's kind of what I'm projecting it for. The Boston Bruins, it's easy. It's Jeremy Swayman. Unless a guy like David Pastrnak lights up in the next 2 rounds, if they beat the Florida Panthers, or if Pasta can rise them out of this occasion and score like 4 goals in the next 2 games to keep them alive, and then like have like an 8-goal streak in the last like 2 series or something like that, then that'd be a different story. But at this current moment, the only reason the Bruins are in the playoffs still is because of Jeremy Swayman. He has put on one of the best goaltending shows of all time. And for me, it's Swayman. Like, sure, Marchand has been huge for this playoffs, but him being injured right now, it's kind of left like a recency bias in my mouth of like, oh, he hasn't done anything. Of course, not in the NHL right now. But just like with like Marchand's play, like it only can take them so far unless he comes back and makes a big splash. Like, it's Swayman, right? Most valuable player, it's like if you remove this guy from the team, where are they? And for like, it's the same thing. Dallas, you remove Aho, Gensel's still there to get points on the board, Svechnikov, Barkov. If you remove him from the team, right, it really eliminates a lot of the points that they put up on the board, and especially their two-way play is gone. For me, Boston, if you remove Marchand, they've done that right now. They won a game, right? You remove Pastrnak, he hasn't been that much of a game changer at this point. Swayman has been, so Swayman easily. Then the Avalanche. This is where people might get a little bit more indecisive who they'd pick. I'm going with Nathan MacKinnon for like 2 reasons. One is that it's going to be the same thing when I get to the Oilers down here. But if the Avalanche somehow crawl out of the hole that is the Dallas Stars series right now, Nathan MacKinnon has been their best player. Hands down, best player. Cale Makar in this second round, right, has evaporated. Currently, Cale Makar is a -5 in this series. Even in Game 1, where he got 3 points on the board, he got a goal and 2 assists. That's Cale Makar. He was a 0 for the night. And then the rest of the series, -3, -2, -1. Wait, no, -2, 2, something like that. He's not very good right now. His numbers are not good, not going in his favor right now, and he's just evaporated. The strip off of Wyatt Johnston last night was embarrassing for, not last night, 2 nights ago was embarrassing for him. And for me, Cale Makar has really evaporated. Nathan MacKinnon, you see him fighting all the time. He never gives up. He's just got a motor going. And for me, Nathan MacKinnon, he's tied for first in 12 points for with Makar and Rantanen on the team. But without MacKinnon, those plays I feel like don't happen. He's the heart and soul of this team. And MacKinnon's always pushing. He's the guy that hasn't given up. For Rantanen, he isn't. The points he's put on the board have been reluctance out of who he's playing with, right? He's in that top 6 with those high-scoring guys like Nichushkin and all that. Without him, I don't think they are where they're at. So for me, it's MacKinnon. He's never given up. Makar feels like he's given up this series. And yeah, so MacKinnon is my choice. And also, if the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup at this point, I don't think MacKinnon couldn't get it, especially after the year he had. If he doesn't get the MVP award for the regular season, they're going to have to give it to him for this one. So that's kind of just my thoughts there. For the New York Rangers, I think most people would probably go with Trocheck or maybe even Zibanejad, but for me, it's Igor. Personally, for me, as the team of the Rangers, the whole unit of the squad has not done me well. I think Trocheck has been their best player, their best skater on the ice, hands down, but for me, for me, if you remove a guy from the ice, right? If you remove Trocheck, Zibanejad, I think, still gets the points he's got on the board, especially with that one game. He was on fire. I don't think it mattered who would have been in the middle of the ice at that point. It was Zibanejad's period. He gets his points on the board. Panarin and Kreider, like, they get their points on the board as well, right? Like, it's not because of Trocheck. Trocheck has been huge. He's gotten game-winning goals. He's gotten goals on the short-handed side. He's such a fighter. He's a perfect playoff guy for them right now. And without him, I do think the forwards do suffer a lot, but not as much as if they were missing Igor. The defense of the Rangers to me has not been that super impressive, and the Rangers as themselves as a unit have not impressed me that much, especially their 5-on-5 play against the Hurricanes this series and the way they're coming back against that. Igor has been left to dry by the New York Rangers to me, and okay, I shouldn't say left to dry, but without him, the Rangers have been unimpressive in my opinion, and look weak if they go on again in this series against a team like the Florida Panthers or even the Bruins if they fight back, right? And for me, Igor has been the only reason that this team almost swept their Hurricanes, and because the team has been playing so poorly, he almost is going to give up this series to them. And it's not Igor's fault. Igor is the number one reason this team's afloat, and that is all I got to say. Trocheck, huge player, easily the runner-up, maybe could change things around over the next two series if they move on and win the Stanley Cup, but for me, Igor at this point in the playoffs, easily the best pick. For the Vancouver Canucks, because I'm missing their sticker, I don't know where the hell it is. That is where that's what that is. But for them, JT Miller is the easiest choice for me. I mean, between him, like Quinn Hughes, not really, and then Shilovs would be a really stupid decision. The only contender is Brock Besser on the team. But for me, if a team like the Vancouver Canucks can go to the finals, they're gonna need that guy who gets the hard points, plays both ends of the ice, and just can make a name for himself, right? And I think JT Miller is going to be that guy. For Brock Besser, he's got 7 goals. He leads the team this series, one of the top guys up in goals in the playoffs at this point. But he had that 1 3-goal night against the Predators, and other than that, I don't know. Brock Besser has been good, and he's been very clutch, but to me, JT Miller, when it comes to MVP, I don't think this team plays the same without him. I don't think they've won maybe that series against the Predators without him. And I think Brock Besser is the player that you need when it comes to punishing the other team. But JT Miller is the kind of player that you need to be even with the other team and contend against them. You know what I mean? JT Miller is Brock Besser is the type of player that is yes, you need him on the team to punish them, get the puck on his stick, and he can score the goal. But he's not going to be the one that is neutralizing them. And to me, JT Miller, he's up there with points with Brock Besser with 11. He's only 1 point behind him. He leads the team in plus-minus. If the Vancouver Canucks win the Stanley Cup, they're going to need a guy who can get those dirty goals in front of the net, and I think JT Miller is going to be the guy who either feeds them there or gets them on the net, gets the rebounds, whatever you want to say. I think it's JT Miller. I don't think too many people would disagree with me, but Besser is close. If he continues scoring lots of goals, I think he paratses him, but that's whatever. But moving on to the Dallas Stars. Jake Ottinger wins it. And to me, it's so hard. Because this is why I think the Dallas Stars are currently my Stanley Cup pick. Because of the way they've neutralized other teams. And also how they score at will against them. Especially a team like the Avalanche. How they can shut them down. And for me, a team that wins the Stanley Cup has got guys who got multiple people that could win the Stanley Cup. Win the Conn Smythe. Look at the Lightning, right? The Lightning, when they won it, it's Vasilevsky, Kucherov led points. But Braden Point was the guy getting the goals. But Stamkos is right there too. Hedman. You got so many guys, and for me, the Dallas Stars are one of those teams where they got Johnston, they got Miro Heiskanen, even Robo at this point. But Jake Ottinger, I don't think without him and the way he can just neutralize everything that the other team throws at him, the Avalanche, right? The Avalanche are right there playing so hard. Maybe not last game, but for the rest of this series and also in that first round, the Dallas Stars, they needed Jake Ottinger to come to the occasion, right? And he was there. He was there, and Johnston, and the thing that I kind of subtract away from the defense, and the offensive production guys, is because Johnston, I don't know, he makes a huge case, and so does Heiskanen. So there is the one I have a really tough issue with, and I think right now, I don't know, if the playoffs ended right now, I feel like it might go to Johnston just because of how good he is. He scores goals all the time. He plays good on both ends of the ice. He's on the power play and the penalty kill. The way he's able to play against these top guys and lead his team is huge, even just for a 21-year-old barely. And even, I don't know. Jake Ottinger's been huge, though. It's so tough between them. And so right now I think I'm going to go with Otter, but Johnston and Heiskanen are right there, and I don't know how to separate them. But I'll have to move on for right now. And for me, the Edmonton Oilers, here's the thing about them. Technically speaking, I think that a guy like Leon Draisaitl is better in the playoffs, but if McDavid wins the Stanley Cup, he is getting the trophy. That is just the bare minimum. So There's not a debate about that. It's just not going to happen. They will not allow McDavid's first Stanley Cup not go to him. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this, made it this far. Please, I am begging you, please subscribe. And until next time, too sweet. Have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.